She's passionate about telling stories of amazing women who are rocking the world and empowering women to live, love, and thrive. Here's your host, Katherine Gray.
Hi, welcome to Live, Love, Thrive Women's Empowerment Hour, brought to you by 360karma.com. We hope that you're enjoying our empowerment conversation on our Facebook page and also, of course, following us on Twitter and Instagram at My360Karma. As always, today we have on an amazing woman. She works for CBS Entertainment. She actually created the position. It's Executive Vice President of diversity and inclusion and communications. I think she needs a longer title. Please give a warm welcome to Tiffany. Tiffany Smith-Anoa'i. Okay, good.
For a good rule of thumb, I always say, if you can say Hawaii, you can say
Anoa'i. Yeah. Okay, great. I wanted to say it with you, so I didn't butcher it there.
No problem.
Oh my gosh, it's amazing because you did create this position for yourself at CBS.
I did.
I want to hear that story because you know, how many people get to invent their position that is something that they are passionate about?
Exactly. It's so rewarding. It's one of those that I've been with CBS, as you know, for 18 years, going on 19, so a long time. I started off as a publicist, and I really wanted to make sure that it was one of the things where I wanted my passion to meet my purpose.
Yeah.
And I loved being a publicist, but there was more there. And the catalyst for this is that everyone's going to have a time in their lives when you're asked, what do you really want to do? You do something for your career. This is what you went to school for. Yep. But what do you really want to do? And the catalyst for that really was the death of my father.
Wow.
And that was a time to really reflect, and I was able to really sit back and during the grieving process, and I felt like I almost heard his voice in my head. Tiff, what do you really want to do? Yeah. And it was in that moment that I was able to, that I knew that I wanted to have and create this department, and specifically this position just for myself.
Yes.
And to really make sure that we were reflecting the audience that we serve. So I got my laptop out, I created a PowerPoint presentation of this is where television is going, and I'm a numbers freak, so I was researching Nielsen numbers and audience viewing habits and advertisers, because everyone knows that advertisers are the reason why television shows, you know, sometimes can stay or not stay on the air.
Yeah.
And I was able to present it to my PR boss. And it was one of those that I said, hey, do you have a couple of minutes? I came in and I said, I don't think you're managing me in the most effective way.
Wow.
This is where television is going. Wow. And I was like, I don't think you realize how smart I am either. And it was one of those where I think that for a moment he looked like, who's this little girl coming in here telling me that I'm not managing her in the most effective way? However, I also saw in his eyes that he saw something in me, that here's someone who wants to make our company better.
Yeah.
Here's someone that is creating something and not waiting for it to knock on the door.
Right.
And so I was able to, to his credit, he definitely was my number one supporter.
Wow.
And it was one of those that I always say, though, that it was 2 years in the making. So it was one of those like, okay, I'm going to help you. But then it was, okay, well, what does that look like? And we don't have a budget for it, or what would you do all day? A lot of these questions. And then I was able to, and that's why I always say, I always say that those no's that sometimes we get, I only heard not yet.
Yeah.
Not yet.
I
Not just
that.
no. I heard
that.
Not yet. And then when I was able to present it again with updated numbers to our then chairwoman, Nina Tassler, at the end of my little 20-minute pitch, she said, we'd be stupid not to make this happen.
Oh, my God.
And then it happened.
Nina Tassler's been on my show.
She's the best.
She's amazing.
She's, again, another supporter.
Used to be the head of CBS Entertainment.
Yes,
Yeah.
Yes, she's incredible. And that's how it happened, and that was, and again, I was a one-woman machine for a while, and then now I have an entire department, and they, I always say teamwork makes the dream work, and they do it day in and day out.
I love to hear that she advocated for you, because I'm a big believer, as you know, everything I'm about is women helping women.
Yes.
So when women get into positions of influence to help other women, and I love that she's the epitome of that.
She is definitely the epitome of that. She is still in my life and is such a proponent, and I'm thrilled for what she is doing now also with her production company.
Yes.
So
yeah.
that's,
Women empowered, filmmaking
Yes.
and TV shows. And
Yes,
we need more of
absolutely.
that.
We definitely do.
Yeah. So you and I met at a diversity event because I sit on the board with 50 Women Can, and CBS is a partner in that.
Yes.
And the idea of 50 Women Can is how do they... Their first initiative was in media and entertainment, of course, with Tabby Biddle and Elisa Parker at the heads of that, talking about training women in different companies to be able to propel women, writers, directors, producers, up into the ranks more quickly than it was happening.
Yes.
And so it's so perfect that you guys are a partner in that. And we met at that event, I'm happy to say.
Yes, I was so happy. I was just saying that to you when we were off air, but I was wondering, like, wait a minute, how did you get to that event? Because your spirit and what you're doing, I immediately wanted to be a part of it. You're infectious, and so I couldn't wait when you. It's such an honor to be here with you today.
Well, thank you. It's an honor to have you on because, I always say this show is, I'm so grateful for this show because I meet women I otherwise wouldn't have met, and I get to share their stories. And the whole purpose of the platform is that there are so many women doing incredible work in the world. It's so nice to get to share their stories.
Yes.
And it's so nice to have positive stories amidst what's going on in the world today, right?
Yes, absolutely.
But there are women like yourself out there doing incredible things.
Yes.
And it's so nice to talk about those positive things. So that's a great story. And I hope it inspires other people that have a vision to know that exactly what you just said. Sometimes the no is just not yet.
Exactly.
I get goosebumps when you said that. And I think I feel that way too because we will get no's.
Of course.
We will get no's.
Especially within this business. I mean, this is a business of no's.
Yes.
But it's what you do with those no's. And that's
Right.
why I always say that if you just hear no and then say, okay, then it's never going to come. It's never going to happen. So I think that if you hear not yet, that's okay. Then it encourages you, to come back.
Yeah. I took this workshop with this woman, Andrea Quinn, and she teaches these different tools that women are lacking in order to be able to up their game. And one of them is realizing that when you meet somebody and you say, hey, I have this great idea, and you share it with them, and they don't buy into it, that you just have to say, oh, okay, not my people.
Yes.
Let me go over here and find someone who gets
Yes,
my vision. And so you
absolutely.
were fortunate to find people that got your vision
I was very
at
fortunate.
CBS.
Yes.
Yeah.
Very fortunate.
And, I know right now CBS is getting a bad rap with the whole Les Moonves thing. And so I'm glad to have you on to show that, hey, good things are happening there.
Absolutely.
Because I know that's challenging for them right now, and people might be, not feeling great about CBS, but hey, there's a whole nother side to CBS, and you're heading that up. And so for those people out there that are producers, writers, actors, or otherwise, you've started these diversity programs.
Yes.
I want to talk a little bit first about your path to get to CBS.
Okay.
And I know you grew up in Malibu.
Yes.
So you are
I'm a
a
beach
local
baby.
girl.
I'm a real California girl.
Yeah. And in that, you ended up getting a scholarship to Howard University.
Yes. A full ride.
A full ride. But what I want to share with the audience,
the big butt.
The big butt is what you did,
Yes.
and how it really changed your life. In that you lost that scholarship.
I sure did.
Let's just visit that story.
I think that it's
minute.
important for women, especially, to talk about their failures.
I do too.
I really do, and that was as a young woman. That I did receive this full scholarship, and I literally lost my mind. I'd like to say that, not because of the scholarship, but because I think that I was immature, I was spoiled, I did not take it serious. And so not only in getting that scholarship, it was one of those where, the books were paid for and I didn't have to wait in line, and there was too much privilege, I think, that was given to me as a 17-year-old young lady. And moving from being an Angelina Toledo and going all the way to the East Coast.
Yeah.
It was one of those that as soon as there was any kind of weather, I'd look out the window like, oh, it's snowing. Does that mean class is canceled? And people from the East Coast were like, no, we live in snow. We still go to school and work. So it was one of those also that I had, kind of talked it up in my head as well. Oh, I got an A on that test Monday. I don't need to go back because it's snowing outside. I mean, it was
Right.
ridiculous. I literally lost my mind. And then to add insult to injury was once the semester was done, and I think that this was the caveat also, that in order just to keep the scholarship, all I had to do was maintain a 3.0.
Right.
That's a B.
Yeah.
That's not rough.
Yes.
That was all I had to do, and I couldn't even do that.
Right.
So at the end of the year, the grades come in and I get a 2.9.
Oh, ouch.
But
Okay.
that didn't stop me because, of course, I tell my parents how fabulous I'm doing. Oh, I'm doing so great, and because the grades hadn't come in yet.
Yeah.
And I tell them, you know what, I really need a car because,
Yeah.
it's hard to get around. And
Yeah.
so they pick me up from the airport when I come home in a brand new car.
Oh, my gosh.
And then the grades come in. Then the phone call comes in.
Uh-oh.
Oh, you've lost your scholarship.
Oh.
And then what is happening in someone's household when that happens. But the one thing that was the turning point in my life for this was you would expect your parents to scream and yell and probably throw things at you.
I
And
love
while
what
I'm
your
sure
mom
that they did, but what she did when she set me down, and someone's serious when they're really calm.
Yeah.
So she was serious and said to me, she's like, Tiffany, do you remember when you opened up your acceptance letter to Howard University and how we were so excited and you were the most excited? I said, yes. And she said, let's think about all of those people that received a decline letter.
Wow.
And how they must have felt that there were more, that they took this serious, that they didn't ask for things and then she said these words to me, and that's when my heart dropped to my toes. You took someone's spot.
Oh, my
And
gosh.
it broke my heart where
Oh,
it
my
really
gosh.
was one of those that I did. I took someone's spot.
Wow.
I didn't take it serious, and I felt that everyone owed me something. And so for that particular year, so she said, if you'd like to return to Howard, you pay for it and figure out how to pay for it. She took the
Wow.
brand new car and she drove it. They gave me a Nova in which the heater never went off.
Oh.
So I had to drive with the windows down all of the time and sweating. I got a job. I enrolled in community college.
I love your mother.
Yes. Is she the best or what? And I enrolled in community college and I saved $23,000 in 9 months or so.
Yeah.
And then I went back to Howard, paid for it myself. I could only afford that one, probably half of a year. But then I did graduate with honors. And in 4 years still.
Unbelievable.
So there's a silver lining to that, but it's important to talk about the failures. And I was, again, young, 17 years old.
Right.
I didn't take it seriously,
Right.
but I vowed from that moment on, and I hear that all of the time, I will never take anyone's spot again.
Right. And never take anything for granted.
Of course. I mean, my
Yeah.
goodness, what a lesson to be learned.
Well, now you are just putting out the good karma because in every day of your life, your job is to go and help bring diversity
Yes,
to the entertainment business.
exactly.
Behind the camera and in front of the camera.
Yes.
So tell me about that. What do you guys do?
Yeah.
I know you align with different organizations.
Yes.
You go to schools. You have different events and programs. In fact, one of the things I know you were telling me just in the last few years, you guys launched some amazing talent that you found through these programs.
Yes.
Like one of my favorite from Saturday Night Live,
Kate McKinnon.
Kate McKinnon.
Yeah, she
Oh
was
my
in our
gosh.
diversity sketch comedy showcase 5 years ago.
Yeah.
And she was as funny as she is now on
Look
Saturday
at
Night
her
Live
now.
then.
Oh my
But
gosh.
look at her now. I mean, we have Tiffany Haddish as an alum from
What?
this.
Oh my God, I love her.
And she's incredible.
Oh, that
Randall
girl
Park,
is a
who's the
hoot.
lead on Fresh Off the Boat. I mean, there's been so many people that have come through, not only our showcase, but others that are
Right.
now, living their best lives and being able to share their talents with the world.
Right.
So all of the above of what you said,
Right.
as far as initiatives and programs and that we are a part of.
Yeah.
But the best part of the job is being able to say yes to someone. I
Yeah.
get to say yes to someone almost every day.
Wow.
And I say that also, I get to say yes to someone deserving
Yes.
every single day. And so we definitely, there's a numerous platforms from our writers program, our directors initiative, to our acting showcases.
Right.
None of those are let me teach you how to. That's what
Right.
school is for. That's what experience is for.
Right.
This is much more of an accessibility, because I built my department on 3 principles,
Yeah.
and that's exposure, access, and opportunity. Because before you can ever find out what a job is about, you need to be exposed to it.
Right.
And then someone needs to give you access,
Right.
that foot in the door,
Yes.
and then ultimately an opportunity. And so that's what
Right.
we've built it upon.
I love that. And it is cbsdiversity.com, is
Yes.
it?
Mhm.
Yes, cbsdiversity.com.
Yes.
If someone wants to check out the programs and
Absolutely,
the
yeah.
events. So you have, let's talk about some of the various programs. Let's say you're a writer.
Yes.
You all have a program where they can submit and be selected. And once selected, you guys put them on a show
Yes.
as a writer. I mean, that's incredible.
Yeah, and they work.
Yeah.
It's one of the things that they would submit a spec as well as an original. It's all read blindly, so
Right.
we don't know who wrote it. The other piece of material is your letter of interest, so we treat that as your kind of third sample, because we want
Right.
to know who you are and
Right.
why you're passionate about whether a drama or comedy, depending
Right.
on what your sensibility is.
And this is so that you can bring in people that are, Muslim, Jewish,
Absolutely.
Black,
Everything. Everything.
LGBT,
Yes.
like women,
Just
like
underrepresented groups,
underrepresented
as well as
groups.
marginalized groups that we
Right.
haven't often heard from.
Right.
We don't want such a linear voice any longer.
What about
kids like
age?
that.
It can-
Absolutely.
any age.
Of course.
I love it.
Absolutely.
Because
And
I've
that's
heard
the
it's
one
hard
thing
for
that
people that are older
Yes.
to be a writer on a show. Is
Yes.
that true, or is it a possibility?
It's absolutely a possibility.
I love
And
that.
so I think that that's really important, so you don't make sure that, that's not for me because of fill in the blank.
Right.
It really isn't. It's about,
Yeah.
to me, the quality of the writing and
Yeah.
whether it's interesting or not,
Right,
right?
right.
That's what it really is.
Right.
So, and when we say and use the word diversity, it's one of those also, it always means more than one. So it's
Yeah.
not just singular. It's one of those that it's diversity of thought, diversity of opinion. I'm an Angelino, right?
Yeah.
I might think a little bit differently than someone who is from New York, let's
Yeah,
say,
just
right?
a little.
So, just
Yeah.
because of our environment, because of
Right.
our shared experiences,
Yes.
or not shared. And that's why I think that it's so important, this role that I have, and I'm able to expose so many other talented people, because media is in our living rooms, it's
Right.
in our bathrooms, it's on our phone that falls on our face in the middle of the night when we're watching it. And so it's a
Yeah.
window of the world, and we want to make
Right.
sure that we are reflecting that world.
Right. Isn't it so weird when you think back, not that many years ago, when there used to not be like hardly any Black characters, hardly any gay characters.
Yes.
I mean, I remember there was a time where there was no gay characters. I mean,
Yes.
that is crazy.
So
So you're trying to make sure not only that we see more diverse actors, but of course, by bringing in more diverse writers,
Absolutely.
producers, directors,
Directors.
we're going to see
You're going to see
different
such a
material.
different material, different
Yeah.
perspective. It
Yeah.
just, to me, makes everything better.
Yeah, I think
and it's not so much.
Crazy Rich Asians, I think, is a
Absolutely,
perfect example of
yes,
that, right?
absolutely.
Because they're all saying, there was no Asian movies out there with an all Asian cast, and that that would never fly. And look at it; it's like
Yes.
soaring, at the box
Exactly,
office.
yes.
So.
And you'll see that there's an appetite for it. Everyone wants to obviously see themselves reflected.
Yeah.
And as, when I'll look at sometimes that, okay, well, look at Superman or Batman or whatever that
Yeah.
it might be. You're the hero. You save the day.
Yeah.
You always get the girl.
Yeah.
Right? Wouldn't someone who looks a little bit different than you want that same? I'd like to
Right.
be able to see myself in that character as
Yes.
well.
Yes.
So I think that that's important, and
It
that's
is
what we're able to
important.
do.
What you're doing is amazing.
Yeah.
So Kate McKinnon, Tiffany Haddish,
Yes.
those were in your programs. Would that have been like the comedy showcase?
That's the sketch comedy showcase, yes.
And that's once a year?
It's we put it up in January. It's the third week in January,
Yeah.
and we put it on at the El Portal Theater in North Hollywood, and it's for agents, managers, casting directors. They
Right.
come in. It's a 45-minute show, and you can find the freshest, most talented people ever. And the best thing about that is that we do that not only for ourselves, of
Right.
course, but the industry. And so you can see that reflected whether they work at CBS or not, we
Right.
really want to showcase that there is talent out there that needs to be utilized.
I love it. And so, let's say someone's out there, and they're thinking, well, I'm a stand-up comedian or
Yes.
whatever. I write some great sketches. How do they participate in that? They go to CBSDiversity.com
Yes, they could go
and they
there
look for the program?
as well as Actors Access. So
Okay.
we'll promote on there as well when we're doing auditions in the summertime.
And do they submit and get selected? Just
Yeah.
like the writers
Just
program?
like the writers program. Yep, same thing.
Now, one thing you told me about that I really loved was, everybody knows writing, producing, acting.
Yes.
But one of your initiatives that was great is that you go into the schools
Yes.
and you're educating them on what other positions.
That's the one that's really near and dear to my heart. It's called CBS on Tour.
Yeah.
I created it in 2011.
Yeah.
And it's where we take our executives from our hallways
Yeah.
into local colleges and universities across the nation, actually, to
Right.
talk about the plethora of careers that are available that someone might not think of. So it's
Right.
like, of course, everyone wants to be the writer, director, actor.
Right.
However, there's marketing, publicity, promo, business affairs, development, all of these jobs. And,
Right.
and then in the production realm of it, there's hair and makeup.
Yeah.
There is art, art direction. There's so many
Stylist.
jobs.
Yeah.
Stylist. I mean, it just goes on and on.
Yeah.
And what we've been able to do, because obviously you want to create a pipeline.
Yes.
And it's one of those that with internships,
Yeah.
that is a direct access to decision makers. And
Yeah.
if you're a great intern, we want to be able to say, oh, remember her? She was incredible. Let's move her up the ranks.
right.
And so we've been able to, with CBS on Tour, we have been able to have an increase of inclusive candidates 40% over the time that we've done that. And of that
Wow.
40%, 28% have started entry-level positions at CBS
Wow.
across the country.
Wow.
So it definitely has an ROI,
Yeah.
and I couldn't be more proud of that.
That's great. I'm so glad we're having this interview because I don't think a lot of people know one network from another.
Yes.
And they don't know what goes on behind the scenes. And I'm really glad to let the average viewer know
Yeah.
that CBS is a big proponent of
Absolutely.
the diversity and
Yes.
inclusion.
And I think
Yeah.
that that's the other thing. There's a me at almost every network and studio, and we are all, that's one place. I mean, obviously, we wouldn't be very inclusive if we didn't work with one another.
Right.
So I am proud that I work with NBC and ABC and Fox and Sony, et cetera, et cetera. And there is a me there that's just as passionate, and we work collectively together.
Oh, I love
so
that.
that's nice as well.
I love that. And what's your, as we're wrapping up here, what's the favorite part of your job? Maybe even an exact example of something
Sure.
that happened.
I think my favorite part of my job is that it's not only something where it's work. I mean, I always say it's not Hawaii, right? It's
Yeah.
called work for a reason. However, it's something that I get to see almost daily the progress.
Yeah.
Almost daily when I'm watching something and it says written by,
Yeah.
when I see or directed by, or here's an intern. And there's so many interns that are now working in the fields that they wanted to be in because of the exposure of CBS on Tour. So those are my favorite part of the jobs, when I'm able to witness the fruit of the labor. Like, it's just one of those where it was just like, wow, okay, I had a tiny bit to do with that, or my team had a tiny bit to do with that, and that's so rewarding. And I feel that this is the tip of the iceberg. I think
Yeah.
that I can't wait to witness so many more talented individuals
Yeah.
and having not so much the barriers that have been from the past.
Yeah.
I feel that those are definitely, diminishing
Yeah.
with each day.
I definitely feel like the tide is turning, and it's a
Absolutely.
big wave of newness and diversity, and that's a
Yes.
beautiful thing. I love that you said to me that you don't exactly like the quote, live each day as though it were your last, because
don't
then
like
we
that.
wouldn't work.
That's
but-
right. I'm not a promoter. I get the sentiment, but it's one of those like, live each day as if it's your last. I probably wouldn't show up to work. So yeah, but I get the sentiment.
But to be doing what you love and that you're passionate about. And I really loved your message about creating your own position.
Yes.
Everybody thinks, oh, I have to take a job that exists. And I love that you're living proof that you can actually create your position. So
Yes, it's
kudos
the best.
to you.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Thanks for all the good you're doing.
It is my pleasure. Thanks for having me today.
Thank you. We'll tune in next week. We're always here on Wednesdays at noon on UBN, and make it a great week. Hugs and happiness.